C7, Corvette, got it, the Rex again, Lexus, Ferrari, Mazda, Suzuki, McLaren, Mustang, the Rex again, RZZ, RZZ, and the 86. Right. I don't know any of this though. And I know the aspiration on the track is bad. I know the car list a little bit is different than the first car list from the other Nürburgring race, but and so I have this RCZ in front of me, and they're gonna overtake me from the first couple of corners before the entire Grand Prix and then during hell. Right. Corvette, right? I get clipped, I don't know by who. I see this WRX again, and I'm thinking, whichever, okay. And then it's a Veyron. And then I let him pass for all intents and purposes. Well, I'm trying to see where right. What is it with them? Like, I tried to slow down to see if they could be dealt with. But it's just WRX. Right. Which clips me hard. And so I'm thinking now, what is... It's like the Forcey basically, that it kills the driver. And the Veyron doesn't. Right. So that's it pretty much. I have an issue with this WRX and the track ventilation of these turbochargers when there's a wrong car in the car list. Right. So then this red car pulls away, and now I'm in the middle of the pack with this Corvette. So the race is over at this point, other than the Corvette allowing me to just pretend that this race is real. Right, because then the WRX killed you basically. Right. So I'm just gonna take damage and see what this race is about. Which I have no idea other than that what just happened basically. Don't let the WRX touch you and it drives like shit. Same thing with the Veyron, there's no steering response on me either. So now I'm taking damage, and so the race is over again. Before the Grand Prix is over, right at the Grand Prix end, and then the beginning of Green Hell. Okay, so this is Green Hell, right? Now it's not steering, so I have no response from the aspiration at this point, from the damage, but really from the aspiration, like I'm saying, right? Because then the balance on the turbochargers on the right, they're just the wrong pack, basically. The way that they're driving to allow safe driving, basically. So then this happens, right? And so I'm like, okay, this is an exercise, or this is just example series like driving off of the track, off-road driving, which front wheel naturally that's what it can do, or a turbocharger, whichever it is that you have. And then this happens. Again, you could argue it's damage from WRX, you could argue that it's the track weather, you could argue that it's the aspiration that they're doing wrong. But they're not letting overtakes, they're not passing each other, they're not doing left to right, there's no defensive driving, there's no sportsmanship basically. So they're driving like babies. So I'm behind this WRX pack with the Veyron and the Lexus, I believe. Right. So then it's this straight again, and it's fine. So I'm like, okay, the Veyron is a real car. It's just like the BMW. You cannot touch it. It's flimsy, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Despite the weight. So then there's Lexus and WRX. Now the Lexus, remember, is not a real car because there's too much car for the driver. You can drive it, but you'd have to give things up. Right. I don't know anything about this WRX other than the fact that it's just undrivable at this point, and it strikes me as the Forcey. Like it's just not a real car, like the Lexus, but worse. Like it's the Lexus, it's like the Forcey, the Lexus, and then this WRX. And I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it's weird Subaru. Right. Now I have pretty much permission from this Corvette to just have this race or do, bisect it. Like this is a broken thing. Right. So in this this WRX and then RZZ. But the RZZ is fine. The RZZ is always fine. So I'm like, what is it with this WRX other than the fact that it's like the 4C. It's got a weight on it, it's got a build on it, it's got a power to weight distribution, it's got a wheelbase that is just like the Lexus. Like it breaks the race basically, or it doesn't allow for safe driving, or whoever is at it just does not know how to do it, or can't do it, or it's tough basically. Right. I still don't know what this race is about yet, since I haven't gotten every overtake, or the race hasn't been called other than the crashes and the bits that are broken. So now I get this overtake from this WRX, and I'm behind this Mustang, and I'm like, okay, this is a lot of old man permission, you know, authority, fucking license to just fucking, right. Creativity and artistic, you know, freedom be damned, right. So I'm like, what is it already? And he goes, well, it's this white McLaren for all intents and purposes. And I was like, bones, but nobody's dead that much. And look again, this Suzuki. And then look again, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, this fucking Mazda shit again. Cannot fucking be possibly be kidding me like this. So I know now that it's either this WRX from before, that is twice by the way, and avoiding the RCZ and everybody else, and so it's either the Mazda, the WRX, or the Suzuki. And the Ferrari is laughing. The track marshals are still laughing and eating all of this up. And I'm like, okay, off-road and then build quality, and on and on and on. Now, I have a bias against the Mazda, right? But it's a real car. It's just wrong all the time, like the Lexus, right? But I hate it in this race. And so I'm like, is it the WRX though? I still don't know. Now I'm behind this Mazda and this Ferrari, and I know for sure it's this fucking Mazda. You wanna know why? When I hit it and the WRX hit me and I hit the Suzuki, it fucking made real contact. Now this thing is not even remotely fucking real. Doing whatever the fuck this is, and then this, by the way. Nobody avoids this fucking T-bone, by the way. Nobody. So that's not even remotely a fucking real car. Nobody has those brakes, nobody has that build quality. So I get the overtakes, or I get overtaken, and I get the race called again for bullshit, basically. Now I know it's either this WRX again or the Suzuki, but I'm going to fucking end this fucking Mazda shit. Right. But I have no steering response, given the damage, given the track, but it's this Suzuki, and I'm like, yes. Oh, thank fuck, it's not the WRX. Thank fuck. But bones like the McLaren and pretty much dead. Right. So it's this Suzuki and me, and I'm like, please tell me that you're a real car. And for all intents and purposes, it is, given that I've driven it as much as I could, and then I liked both groups, and it makes sense, like in the brand central and the car list. And so I'm off-roading again, and I'm like, okay, it's the fucking Mazda, and not the WRX. That's a real car. Like the WRX is fine, but it's not with the right driver in this race, right? So it's a Suzuki, but the Suzuki is just like me, basically, like completely underpowered. And now this Mazda is pretty much the Ferrari, and then take your pick of just like Lexus, and then McLaren, and then, you know, overpowered basically. Right. So it's just you and me, Suzuki, this entire race, but in group 4. And then even in group 3 the Suzuki is fine. So I'm like, can you just be a real car? And I'm like, great. Whatever that is, what this is, it was pretty much a track that ruined the WRX and the Veyron at the first couple of corners, that clipped me, and then ruined my steering response, and then ruined my race for the entirety of just like it being believable. But then pretty much per example, and then catching up, and then just being like, you know, legally generous. Right. Now, I know I'm catching up to the pack since the Suzuki gave out, and so here they go. And it's the end of the race pretty much, or it's about to be the straights. And it's before mini carousel, so there's ventilation, there's aspiration, there's the track clears up basically for instant purposes, and you can get an idea, okay, it was a track, whether wrong, it was just a mismatch. Right. But I have no idea again about the Suzuki behind me. And what you can't do. Right. Now I see the pack and I see this Veyron, and I'm like, okay, where or what or what. Just I know it's Suzuki, but just the question or the lesson, right? And then it's like, go ahead pretty much from this RZ set and the Veyron for all intents and purposes. And I'm like, Lexus, what is it? And I was like, well, it's not the WRX, is it? And I'm like, great. Oh, I'm gonna fucking like this so much. And then immediately, you're not a real car. I don't care, you're not a real car. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Nobody fucking does that. And that's it. The race is over the Suzuki, and then whichever I can manage to get in terms of just survivability. Like, as a driver, I think maybe the car is done. Like, completely totaled. Other than the fact that there's a front rear naturally aspirated. It would be a restoration project, maybe. Right. And then I would have broken bones at the very fucking least. Maybe. Probably. Right. If you take it down, like, so many steps in exaggeration. Right. So there must have been like the heat or something too. Right. And so I'm like, come on, Suzuki, whatever this is. Thank you so much. Right. And that's the race. No, right? No, not even a little bit. But it's fine though.